What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again on Wednesday. Got a nice 10-game slate here tonight. I got it broken down for you with 6 of my favorite plays on the slate. My money's 6th. So before we get going, be sure to slap a like on the video. Really helps me out so I can continue to bring these videos your way every single day. And if you happen to be new here or haven't subscribed, definitely do so. Hit the bell icon and get alerted every time I upload these videos. So let's get into it. I'm going to go with James Harden. I'm just assuming that Chris Paul is going to be out of this game. If he is, playing, then obviously I'll tweet out a pivot from James Harden onto someone else. As the price tag's a little bit too expensive for with Chris Paul in the pitcher. But if he is out here tonight, James Harden is going to be super usage James Harden. He's put up over 30 shots the last 2 games, 66 and 89 points, DraftKings points to show for it. And he's getting like a ton of turnovers, and it doesn't even matter. He's just putting up so many points and assists where he's just dropping a ton of fantasy points. And he's playing a good amount of minutes. This game went to overtime. I don't think the game against Cleveland went to overtime, but he still played 44 minutes in that game and then 47 in the game that went to OT. So going against Dallas, they actually have struggled a good amount against guards this year. Their defense is a little bit undermanned when it comes to the guard position. So I can see James Harden going over 60 DraftKings points again in this game. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my first guy. And I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert here. Just typed in his name like a combined, but at 7,700 going against the Brooklyn Nets. We got a really good matchup here. And typically with Gobert, he likes to assert his dominance against these worser defensive teams, against centers like we saw against the Kings. 2 out of the last 4 games, he went for 48 and 40. And then we saw earlier we saw against Boston. They can struggle a little bit against centers, 17 and 15. Against Memphis and a little bit of a tougher matchup, still went for 44. So he does have that upside. He struggled a little bit against Indiana, who actually has been pretty good against centers in 2 out of these last 5 games. So that's a little bit understandable. Against Philly, they're pretty solid with Embiid down low. And DeAndre Jordan can be pretty solid defensively. So these tougher matchups, he can struggle. But Brooklyn Nets, they're one of the best teams really for centers to attack. They struggle defensively, rebounding and stuff like that. So Gobert can easily get double-digit rebounds. And I think he can have a huge double-double, which we've seen the Brooklyn Nets kind of allowed to centers this year and just over the last 2 years, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my second guy. I'm going to go with MIROTIC here. Really good matchup. Going against the Wizards, a team, like I've mentioned, really struggles against stretch 4s. They're prone to allowing a good amount of 3s. They're allowing 38% clip to 3-point shooters. So really terrible defense. So I think MIROTIC can hit some more 3s. He was pretty effective against them the other night. I played 40 minutes, a little bit extra minutes because Anthony Davis was out of that game. But he still shot 58% from the field, 5 for 9 from 3. Good for 40 DraftKings points. So with how they kind of play a little bit smaller on the Wizards, especially with Dwight Howard out, I could see MIROTIC still getting around like 35 minutes again in this game and being able to hit some good 3s and stuff like that again in this game. So at 6,900, a nice price tag considering his 40-plus upside for DraftKings points. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my third guy. Then I'm looking at Larry Nance Jr. He got promoted to the starting lineup last game, and he got a good amount of run. I would imagine he'd be in the starting lineup again. David Nwaba was out with a knee soreness, so I guess we'll see if he'll be in the starting lineup again, but still, even if he isn't, he still does have that ability. But obviously, if he's in the starting lineup, he can get a good amount of run as his minutes went up like 20 in the last game against Minnesota. So going against OKC, they're a little bit weaker against centers. So this is actually a really good spot in the starting lineup with him going against Grant rather than Steven Adams, who's really solid defensively. So he could get an advantage with that. As they probably lean on him a little bit more compared to Tristan Thompson. So at 5,300, I think he can fill it up like he's been doing kind of with the scoring, rebound, a few assists here and there. So nice little value with the minutes seeing a huge uptick and the good matchup. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there. And then for my final guy, similar situation here. R.HOLLIS Jefferson, he just got promoted to the starting lineup as well. I didn't do much with it, 23 DraftKings points in 30 minutes. But with those minutes, there's definitely some more upside on his plate. I think against Brooklyn, not against Brooklyn, against Utah in this matchup, they could lean on him a little bit. Utah, another team that isn't great defensively against power forwards. Derek Favors is kind of more of an offensive power forward. So I think R.HOLLIS Jefferson could do some damage on him. They're at home. I think he'll play a little better in front of the Brooklyn crowd. and I think he'll be able to get some more upside on his value at 5,200 and be able to get closer to 30 DraftKings points to return maybe around 6 times value at that salary. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my fifth guy. For my final value guy, I'm going to go with ALLONZO Trier here at 3,800. There's definitely some risk here with the Knicks. They have like a 4-man rotation at guard, so you never know who's going to be the one that gets the uptick in minutes. But with how well Trier's been playing, I feel like he is the easiest kind of call to be able to get those huge upside minutes and stuff like that with around 30 minutes. So 34 minutes against the Pelicans, the guy dropped 42 DraftKings points. That's an insane value at 3,800. Then in 31 minutes against the Pistons last night, he went for 47 DraftKings points. So I'm not sure he'll be able to replicate those performances with over 40 DraftKings points, but I think he has the ability to get around 30 plus around there if he can get those 30 minutes or so again in this game. And even if he gets like around the 22, he does still have the ability to get us around 5 times value with around 20 DraftKings points, but he does have that huge upset again. So I feel like he's a great option, especially in GPP, because he just has so much ability to get like a huge amount of return on his price tag. So at 3,800, I'm going to take the risk. These Knicks guards are an absolute headache. But Trier is the latest guy up that seems like he's starting to take over. And it makes the most sense as he's their draft pick from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and lock him in there as my final guy. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit sick with allergies, so I apologize for that. But I had to get the video out for you. So I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like if you did. Got anything of value here, you can comment any questions down below. You can subscribe if you want to continue to get these videos. You can follow me on Twitter, like I said, if I have to update this James Harden play or if any other news comes out. So good luck, and we'll see you back here again next time.